The Iranian regime has been using attractive names for its news agencies to continue its demonization campaign against the Iranian resistance, particularly the People's Mujahedin Organization of Iran. One of these agencies, called American Herald Tribune. Facebook announced in January 2020 that it's going to remove fake accounts which are being running from Iran. In this regard, in a special report, CNN shed light on one of these news agencies called as the American Herald Tribune. This news agency has been using American writers to write against the Iranian resistance and to demonize the Iranian resistance movement. One of these writers, known as Tim King, a writer who has had, according to his social media profiles, a long career in media, told CNN Business he couldn't recall how he first began working with American Herald Tribune, but he was paid a couple of $100s to write an article against the Iranian resistance. The Iranian regime has a long history of continuing a demonization campaign against the Iranian resistance through various forms. This is being overseen by the regime's High Security Council within the past 4 decades. Other organizations who are in full cooperation and under the High Security Council's command are the regime's Ministry of Intelligence and Security, the Ministry of Communications, and the IRGC's intelligence branch. And indeed, the IRGC itself. They all cooperate and work together on series of plans to continue the demonization campaign and the psychological war against the MEK. For instance, all of a sudden, one could see different articles about the internal relationship of the MEK members published on low-rating news agencies abroad. Or suddenly you see a bunch of MOI's agents disguised as former members of the MEK appear on different televisions in Europe or sometimes Persian-speaking televisions, and they accuse the MEK of mistreating them while they were leaving the organization. And this demonization campaign sometimes is being led by a group and a network of journalists who are in close connection with the Iranian regime. The method of the MOIS is that it creates and fabricates these news, and then it gives it to its news agencies, or somehow it publishes under the name of its own agents who are working under the cover of individuals or independent sources. And at the same time, in Albania, where the MEK members are stationed, and of course in the European countries and the US, continues this demonization campaign through its other agents. American Herald Tribune is one of these companies, front news agencies, which has been continuing the regime's demonization campaign against the MEK and the Iranian resistance. Now we're going to talk about the writers of this so-called news agencies. One of these writers, known as Reza al-Ghurabi al-Ghazvini, yet he has titles such as researcher on Iran topic in Lebanon, member of the Iraqi journalists, independent writer with Twitter accounts in both Persian and Arabic. He has been fabricating and yet regurgitating the same allegations produced and published by the MOIS news agency Habilian. One of his articles on the American Herald Tribune was, has the MEK re-entered its military terrorist phase? But who really is this Reza al-Ghurabi? His real name and full name is Sayyid Reza Ghazvini Moradi. He's affiliated with the MOIS, but the most important thing is that he has the position of the legal advisor to the Habilian website. And he has been participating in different demonization campaigns and programs against the MEK and the Iranian resistance. Earlier this year, the Iranian regime held a conference about the Eternal Light operation by the MEK back in 1980s with the presence of some Iraqi agents. This program was coordinated and moderated by this person. There have been numerous articles by this person, Qazvini Ghorabi, in different websites of the MOIS. In an interview with Qazvini Ghorabi, IRNA news agency, while presenting Qazvini Ghorabi as a specialist of Iraq and Iran, quoted him as calling the eliminated terror mastermind of the Iranian regime, Qasem Soleimani, as a martyr. And he said, killing martyr Soleimani won't change Iranian foreign policy and won't create a new balance. And I believe Iran's reaction to the killing of martyr Soleimani will be hard and a harsh reaction. He also retweeted some tweets, some of the Twitters by the regime's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. Now we're going to talk about another writer of the American Herald Tribune to further know the nature of this so-called news agency or independent news agency, American Herald Tribune. Another writer is Olsi Yazshi. The Fars news agency affiliated with the IRGC once published a photo of Olsi Yazshi participating at the New Horizon event in Iran. New Horizon conference was blacklisted in January 2019 by the U.S. Department of Treasury for its terrorist activities. The Treasury Department had confirmed that this conference, the New Horizon Conference, has been using its conferences to recruit spies to operate across Europe and the US. Olsi Yazshi is one of these spies. Him, along with his wife, are running a news agency in Albania known as Gazeta Impact. Interviews that were published against the MEK on their website is usually with the MEK, with the MOIS agents disguised as the MEK former members. One of these people was Anne Singleton, a British agent of the Iranian regime, and this interview was conducted by Olsi Yazshi's wife. Later, this interview was published on Masoud Khodabande, one of the Iranian regime's known agents and infamous agents, on its Facebook account. It is worth noting that the Facebook removed the Gazeta Impact account because of its relation with the Iranian regime. Another mission of Olsi Yazshi is to create a cover for the MOIS agents who are operating in Albania. These agents include Ehsan Bidi and Manucher Abdi, who were recently arrested for cooperating with the Iranian regime. Olsi Yazshi has also conducted interviews with other agents of the Iranian regime, such as Sadullah Seifi and Anne Singleton, recently in Albania. It is worth reminding that Manucher Abdi and Sadullah Seifi, after fabricating lies about the MEK's relationship, were rewarded by being able to return to Iran to continue their work against the Iranian resistance. Other works that are being done by Olsi Yazshi include his participation in different conferences, particularly in conferences held at the European Union by Ana Gomez, one of the regime's lobbyists and apologists, at the European Parliament. He has also published various articles against the MEK to somehow make regime's fabrications and lies believable. Now we're going to talk about another member of the MOIS agents who has been working with the American Herald Tribune, known as Soraya Sepahpour. She has been writing what she was ordered by the Iranian regime. Along with the American Herald Tribune, other websites of the Iranian regime, such as Balkan Post, which is run by the Iranian regime, have published Sepahpour's articles against the MEK, and there were a handful of articles published by the state-run agencies inside Iran in order to demonize the Iranian resistance. This includes Raheno and Habibyan website. But what is the truth? Soraya Sepahpour once participated in a conference back in 2016 in Tehran. This conference was indeed held by 11 security institutions at the presence of the regime's Minister of Intelligence, Mahmoud Alavi, and indeed, the first speaker of this event was the regime's president, Hassan Rouhani. In defending the anti-patriotic war of the Iranian regimes, Soraya Sepahpour said, "We will always remember this conference and the victims who lost their lives in defending Iran." And then she said, "We were shocked by the number of those who were assassinated by the MEK inside Iran." Sepahpour said this, but she never said why did she participate in a conference in Iran which was against the Iranian resistance, against the Iranian people, and was at the service of the mullahs regime to continue oppressing the Iranian people. All of these were once revealed in an article on the Daily Beast titled "Iran's Spies Tried to Recruit Me" by Shane Harris. In his article about the MOIS method of recruiting spies such as Sepahpour were revealed. In this article, Shane Harris referred how the Iranian regime agents tried to recruit him as well to participate in a conference which was apparently held to pay tribute to 15,000 martyrs of assassinations inside Iran. Of course, this conference is being organized by the MOIS, but the Habibyan website officially is responsible for holding this conference inside Iran. Shane Harris further said that the Iranian regime agents asked him about the amount that he would like to receive in order to participate at this conference and to participate in a demonization campaign against the MEK, but he declined. Now let's go back to Sepahpour. Once in defining terrorism in order to help the Iranian regime, she said, "Imposing sanctions on the Iranian regime is another form of terrorism," and angrily says, and angrily blames the MEK for revealing the regime's nuclear activities. It is interesting to see that infamous MOIS agent Masoud Khadavande published Sepahpour saying on his Twitter account. Now let's talk about another writer, or so-called writer, of the American Herald Tribune. His name is Marve Osman. Marva Osman is from Lebanon and is one of the regime's English language TV, press TV uh, experts. And of course, it's one of the writers of Khamenei's website and Shafaq News website. Marva Osman has been defending Marzi Hashemi, an MIS agent who was arrested in United States. They were cooperating with one another on Press TV, the English speaking television of the Iranian regime. At that time, she called that Marva Osman, as an independent journalist who has this possibility to film the place of assassination of Nidal al-Sultan, who was shot dead during the 2009 protests in Iran. And claimed that her researchers finally led to these conclusions that it was the MEK who killed Nidal al-Sultan. Marzi Hashemi never missed an opportunity to attack the MEK. In one of these conferences, she said, the US is seeking to strengthen the MEK. She has never missed an opportunity to praise the regime terror mastermind Qasem Soleimani. This is why YouTube has removed the account of Press TV, and there have been also international sanctions imposed on the Press TV reporters for their participation in getting false confessions under pressure from the Iranian prisons. Google also said that it's going to remove different accounts affiliated with the Iranian regime for spreading lies and hatred on internet. To better know Marva Osman, we should pay attention to her mourning of Soleimani's death. In this regard, while calling a terrorist a great martyr, she said, the history will remember martyr Qasem Soleimani as one of the great masterminds of the Middle East. She has been long promoting the regime's policy of warmongering in different countries. She has interviewed the Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, and published this on her Twitter account. Now let's talk about another writer, Philippe Geraldine. He is another agent of the MIS, writing articles on the American Herald Tribune. His accounts were removed and blocked by the Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Nader Talebzadeh, who is in charge of the New Horizon organization and is in direct contact with the regime's supreme leader's office and has been creating documentaries against the MEK to continue regime's demonization campaign, says about Philippe Geraldine. Mr. Philippe Geraldine has written different articles about the MEK, and he has participated at different conferences that we held. So now let's say Philippe Geraldine is very much in favor of the regime's adventurism in the Middle East. In one of his interviews with the Habilian website, which is an official website of the MIS, says, given the capability of the MEK in conducting actions in Iran could end in disasters, the international community must take an immediate action against this group. It is worth mentioning to say that the New Horizon is indeed part of the RGC Quds forces and was blacklisted by the US Department of Treasury for conducting regime terrorist activities. The Department of Treasury also declared that the New Horizon conference has been a way of the Iranian regime's a method by the Iranian regime to recruit the spies from US and European countries. Now let's know another agent of the regime. Now let's know another writer of the American Herald Tribune. His name is Ivan Chizik. He has been writing not only on the American Herald Tribune but also on the Balkan Post, which is affiliated with the MOIS. The main job of Balkan Post is to spread lies against the MEK and pursue the regime's demonization campaign. This website has been publishing fake news about the MEK as a part of a campaign and a psychological war against the MEK. And in addition, other websites, the so-called independent websites, republish these articles to somehow accredit them. One of these articles was about an earthquake in Albania earlier this year. This article was entitled, "Devastating Earthquake Destroys the PMOI NCRI Base in Albania, Possibly Dozens Dead, Survivors Blame Iran." This was a blatant lie by the Iranian regime agents. And it's interesting to see that this article, after being published in English on Balkan Post, was later on translated and published by another MOIS website known as Iran Interlink, which is run by infamous agents of the MOIS, Masoud Khodabande, and then republished again and again by other news agencies of the MOIS to somehow make this fabricated story real. And this was a short review of some of the writers of the MOIS working at the American Herald Tribune. And indeed, it confirms that this so-called independent news agency was another source to support regime's warmongering policies and to pursue regime's demonization campaign against the MEK as the only viable alternative to the Iranian regime.